Say hi. Hey everybody. It's Nadine Smiley with the Relationship Couch. I've been out of action. He's smiling. Excuse me. I'm just now starting to get over a bug. And I'm about to go down for surgery. So I wanted to record this live today because there was something on my mind as far as relationships go, that was kind of triggered from a conversation I was having recently. And I covered, so recently I covered about the quote unquote fairy tale endings. If I sound congested, guys, please excuse me. I'm still getting over it. So I covered the fairy tale endings, right? And how these Disney movies and stuff like that, how they have us tripping. Like they have us believing happily ever after just comes. He's smiling. So happily ever after does not just come without work. So I covered that in another live, and it's actually up on my IGTV. So if you haven't seen it, you can check my IGTV. But here's the other flip side of it. So a lot of, and I'm gonna say, not just women. It's not just women. I was gonna say women, but a lot of people stay in these relationships where they're so unhappy with their significant other, so unhappy. They have so many complaints. It's everything's wrong with them. I'm miserable. And if you ask them, okay, so if you're not happy, if you're not getting what you need, if it's toxic to the point that you're saying it is, why don't you leave? So if you say that, you're going to hear a million excuses. But here's what a lot of it comes down to: they want to be the martyr. So when somebody's in a relationship and they're talking about how terrible their partner is, right? And they have the opportunity to leave, and they choose not to leave. They choose to stay and put up with it. Staying for the kids is a terrible reason. That's one, because your kids see that you're unhappy and it affects them. The kids are simply concerned with their parents being happy. They want their parents to be happy, whether that means being together or apart. They just want them to be happy. So using the children as a reason to stay together goes out the window. That's a terrible reason. That's one, because watching their parents consistently unhappy not only models an example for them to follow of what they should put up with in their own relationships, but it also models for them what they should expect, as well as the unhappiness of their parents. That doesn't feel good to them to see. They look at their parents and they see them miserable together. That doesn't make them feel good. And for many children, what they'll do is they'll take that on as a personal thing. Oh, mom and dad are staying together because of me. They're unhappy because of me. So watch what you say when it comes to saying that you staying together because of kids. That's a terrible idea anyway. So that's out the window. So any other reason that you're staying together, you're miserable, you're toxic together, and you're staying together, I have to look at it as, is this a situation where you just want to be a martyr for the cause? Excuse me. For example, if it's a codependent relationship, then people look at it as, okay, it's codependent. That person, there's the toxic partner, because this is how the story will come to you, that one partner is toxic. So with that toxic partner, the other one that's supposed to be the healthy one, that's complaining and, oh, woe is me, I'm going through all of this, they're painting a picture for you. And if you say, why don't you leave? If you say, why don't you let the relationship go, whatever, part of that is because they're addicted to the drama. They're addicted to the fighting. They're addicted to all of that. And that becomes a codependent relationship. He's smiling. Yeah. So it becomes a codependent relationship. So that's one, which is toxic in itself. And then the other reason is because they want to be a martyr. Because they want people to look at them like, oh, you're sacrificing so much. Oh, you're trying so hard to hold it together. And, your partner is just unreasonable. No. there's always two sides. No relationship ever fails because of one side. So if the picture that's being painted is all of one side, that should be red flag. But that on its own is red flag behavior. Because one, if they truly are invested in staying together, in making this relationship work, then exposing all of the faults of their partner to anybody who will listen is a terrible idea. Terrible. All it does is seek to paint the complainer as the martyr and the hero, for lack of better words. So no, you don't get kudos, you don't get points for staying in a relationship you're unhappy with. You don't. It's not healthy, it's toxic. So either it is toxic and you just don't want to leave, or it's not as toxic as you're saying, or you're addicted to the toxicity. Pick one. Because you have to be careful the advice that you give to people when they come to you with this bundle of information. And then depending on whether that partner is a narcissist or not, they can completely be painting a totally off picture just because, they don't want themselves to be exposed. They may be the toxic partner. So all of these are things you have to think about. Why are they still in this relationship if it's so terrible? Why? It's everybody that comes to me that is like, oh, I'm just looking for a reason to stay. When you're looking for a reason to stay, you've already made up your mind. I was in a relationship that my partner called me and said he needed a reason to stay, and was upset that I didn't give him one. I'm not going to give someone a reason not to stay. A reason to stay with me. Either you want to or you don't. And that's really ultimately how it goes. How do you value yourself? How do you value your partner? Because if you value your partner and you're interested in staying with them, then there's no reason to expose them to everyone. Either you're going to work out these issues or you're not. And if you're not, don't complain. Leave the relationship. So the codependency, the narcissism, the toxicity, all of that, those are all red flag behaviors. And be careful when somebody comes to you with those, because they may be just looking for somebody to give them a pat on the back, an attaboy or an attagirl. You're a superhero. You're staying for this person. You're doing them a favor. Does not work like that. Always look deeper into the stories that you're being told, because especially if it's a narcissists paint these elaborate pictures of everybody in their past, all of their past lovers just doing them wrong. Oh my gosh. They will have these elaborate stories. So be careful what you're being fed. Be careful what advice you give in these relationships. If it's codependent, you telling the person, well, why don't you just leave, is not going to work, because they're addicted to feeling that superior position. Or they're addicted to the drama. So either one is toxic. So this is the flip side of those Disney movies having us all twisted thinking everything is a fairy tale. Everything is not a fairy tale. Everything takes work. However, it should not feel miserable to be with your partner. Work? Yes, it'll take some work. It's two totally different people coming together with two totally different backgrounds. Totally different sets of belief, experiences, all of that. So it's going to take work. Please do know this. It will take work. But if it makes you miserable, then it's time to go. You are not a martyr for the cause. And if you choose to stay, you don't get kudos for staying in a toxic relationship. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to leave unless you are in a toxic relationship. And anything abusive, yes, hands down, I will encourage anybody in an abusive relationship to leave. But aside from that, people will leave on their own accord. Especially women tend to stick it out a lot longer. So for women, if a client comes to me and she talks about she's not ready to leave or whatever, my only words will be when a woman is fed up, she will leave. And that's exactly what happens. When she is fed up, she will go. Men tend to give up, men tend to give up is the wrong phrase. Men tend to let it go earlier. Women have this thing where society has painted this image as to if our relationship fails, it's a reflection on us as a person, as a woman. And it's not. It's not, because the fact is, society is not concerned with what's happening in the relationship. So it's not, if your relationship fails, it's not a reflection on you as a person, unless you have a long history of failed relationships. Then I would encourage you to take a look at yourself. There's something in you that all of these relationships are not working. Either there is something in you that is attracting the wrong kind of person, or there's something in you that when you are in a relationship is causing a breakdown. Not causing, but contributing to a breakdown of the relationship. What is it in you? When you have this long trail, you have to take a mirror to yourself and ask, what is it in me that's causing or contributing to all of these relationships? Especially if those partners go on to have healthy relationships of their own, you really have to take a look at yourself. And it's okay to take a look at yourself and fix some things. It's okay to say, oh, I see what I did wrong there. Because I can look back at relationships and say, hey, all right, I can identify what I did wrong here. Oh, wait, no, that I should not have said that because that emasculated him at that time, or anything like that. So don't be afraid to take a look at yourself. Don't sacrifice yourself for a toxic relationship, whether you have kids or not. You don't sacrifice your kids, because ultimately the model that you're putting on for them is what they're going to model in their own relationships. So if you're not happy, you're going to teach them to put up with unhappiness and toxicity in their relationships. You want your kids to be happy. You want them to know what healthy relationships look like, and you have to be their first model. So just like my other video, don't let these Disney movies fool you. It's a whole lot more than that. So until next time, this is Nadine Smiley with the Relationship Coach. The Relationship Couch. And I will see you next time. Say bye-bye, Mateo. Bye-bye.